This is Speaking of Writers. I'm Steve Richards. The book is Truly Blessed. The author is Jonathan Miller. Jonathan, born in Easton, Pennsylvania. His family comes from the Philadelphia and South Jersey area, and he joins me now here on Speaking of Writers. Jonathan, welcome to this program.
Thanks, Steve.
So what is this book, Truly Blessed, all about?
Well, Steve, really, to be honest with you, it's my perception of good over bad.
And how do you perceive good and bad?
God has a lot to do in my life. And I've done some good, and I've done some bad. And there's an in-between sometimes, but not all the time.
We're talking to Jonathan Miller here on Speaking of Writers. His new book is Truly Blessed. How did you come up with the title for this book?
Steve, the only thing that I could think of was how blessed people can be, honestly.
What about the care and love of all people? Talk about that a little bit.
All should look out for each other, humble ourselves to each other. There's too many starving people in this country and other countries, and I think that we all should step back and say, listen, let's help each other, That's the way I look at things now.
How about, Jonathan, teaching good and home values?
Churches should have, and in my opinion, they should take the young ones from, very young when they can understand and teach them values of right and wrong, and honesty and the law and things like that. I really think that would go a long way for generations. I'm talking about from when I was young until, I go home.
How important is it to have an open mind?
Very much. An open mind to me is that there is too many things that people are foolish. Steve, too many people are foolish.
We're chatting with Jonathan Miller here on Speaking of Writers, and his new book is called Truly Blessed. So what was the writing process like?
I started out when I was 14 years old. I was watching a movie. It was called The Stand at Acres, and it was about the Battle of Acres, Israel, and the Crusades. The knights were they were so brave. And they went, to me, I researched that. I researched all about the Hospitallers and the Teutonics and the Templars, and I just come up with, a guy that starts young and ends up the way he ends up.
Did you always know that you were a pretty good storyteller, Jonathan, from a young age?
Yes, I was.
And did you always want to become a writer? Were you good at writing?
Steve, that's something that I dreamed up for a long time. And, I just sat down and did it one day. I retired from my job, and I sat down and, did it.
Did you always keep a journal growing up?
Yes, I did. Things that I had to remember, I jotted down and kept.
And Jonathan, how long did it take you to write this book?
About 55 years.
A lot of years in the making, this book.
Yes.
What was the feeling like when you finally got it published?
The feeling that I got was, I hope somebody reads it and sees my perception of good over bad, and that maybe they have an open mind for that.
What's been the feedback and reaction from your friends and family to this book?
I have a really supportive family. My family loves me a bunch. My wife is behind me 100%. My brother, my sister, and all my friends, they are behind me 100%.
So how do you do your best, Jonathan, to live God's word each day?
I do my devotions in the morning. I make sure that first thing is first in my life is my devotions. My prayer, my meditation, my thanks, and thanks for the new day, because we're not guaranteed, the next day. I do a lot of prayer. I pray for other people that, have been gone. But living by God's word is being clean, being straight up, being honest, and be humbling yourself to help someone.
We're chatting with Jonathan Miller. The book is Truly Blessed. It's available, by the way, at writersrepublic.com, also amazon.com. And Jonathan, what's the main message that you would like readers to take away from this book?
To have faith in something that you can't see. There is good in the world, and there is bad, and that a lot of people can open their eyes to see, and good more than bad.
And you got this book published. Are you working on another book?
Yes, I have one. It's called, it's at the beginning. It's called Truly Blessed, the Beginning. It starts from when Christian's grandfather comes from Austria, and his suffering and the things that happened to him, being a European that came in the turn of the century.
Did the story come to you first in this book, Truly Blessed, or the characters, or a character?
There was a gentleman that I talked to a long time ago. He talked about his father leaving Poland, and that it was a treacherous journey for him. He was bunched with a bunch of people, and they were all sick. And when they pulled into New York, it was chaos. I mean, just chaos. And he just went down the line and said, this happened, this happened, this happened. And it just clicked in my mind that how many immigrants had come to this country, and now we're still coming to this country, that have so many problems. And, we got to figure them out. We got to figure them out.
The book is Truly Blessed. The author is Jonathan Miller. It is available at writersrepublic.com, also Amazon.com as well. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me.
Okay, Steve. I appreciate you having me.
And this is Speaking of Writers.